Well, hello plant science, Mr. Harper here, and we are starting a brand new unit, and I bet you can guess by looking at this picture what it's going to be about. Yes, you are right, this new unit is on flowers. And I got a question for you. Why would a plant go through the bother of making a flower? It takes tremendous energy. Do plants care that we think they're pretty? I kind of doubt it. Some flowers are really pretty, some aren't. What's the difference, and why do plants bother to do it? To make flowers. That's what I want to talk to you about today in this unit. I want to talk to you about the parts of flowers and why plants even bother to do this. So first off, to get straight to the point, flowers are reproductive organs. They are a way for the plant to reproduce and make seeds that then will become the next generation for the plant. So that's what a flower is all about. A flower is about making seeds. And there are 4 different kinds of specialized pieces of the flower. There's a piece called sepal, which is down here on the bottom. It encloses the flower bud before the flower opens. Sometimes sepals are green, sometimes they are not. There are the flower petals themselves. Sometimes the flower petals, like this particular flower, are very big and showy. This is a lily, sometimes Asiatic lily to be exact. And sometimes flower petals are not as big and showy. There are the stamens, which are this piece right here. It's made of 2 pieces. You can see here the anther on the top and the filament, which is like the stalk. Together, those 2 pieces make up the stamen, which is the male part of the flower. And yes, there is a male part. And if there's a male part, guess what? There's also a female part. That is this center area right here. This whole thing is called the pistil. The bottom of the pistil is this swollen base. That's called the ovary. And then there's a stalk called the style, and then there's a stigma up at the top of the pistil. Those 3 pieces make up the female part of the flower. And this is a typical of what is called an angiosperm flower. Angiosperms are a huge classification of all plants that have flowers, because there are some plants that don't have flowers. There's a group called gymnosperms. The pines, the spruces, the hemlocks, all those evergreen trees, they don't even have flowers. They're called gymnosperms. But this group of angiosperms, they have flowers. So, first let's talk about the sepals. The outermost circle of flower parts are called the sepals. Here they are in this rose. These sepals are obviously green. You can see that. They enclose the flower bud. If this was closed up all the way, you would see nothing but green. They protect the flower while it's developing. Sepals are usually green, but not always. Sometimes the sepals are the same color as the flower itself. Flower petal itself. Some plants, like this lily, there are no sepals at all. You just have the petals that close up to form the bud. Second group, petals. Often brightly colored, sometimes not, sometimes big, sometimes small. All the petals together have a name. They're called the corolla. So next time you ride in a Toyota Corolla, you can think you're riding in a Toyota flower petal car. The color of those petals, the number of the petals, the shapes, all these things are designed to attract insects and other animals to pollinate the flower. And we'll talk about what that means later. But the whole design of the flower, the way it looks, the way it smells, the way it's shaped, is designed to attract an insect, or a bee, which is an insect, or a bat, or a small mammal to come to that flower. And that's the reason why they're brightly colored and pretty. Stamens, the male part of the flower. Each stamen, like I said earlier, has this stalk called a filament that holds up this thing on the very end, this swollen piece called the anther. Anthers hold pollen grains. And pollen grains have inside of them sperm. That's the male part of the flower. So yes, it's funny to think about it, but people, animals, males have sperm in plants. The male part of the plant also has sperm. It looks a little different, but it serves the same purpose of fertilization. The pistil, the female part. It is the innermost whorl, and I guess I should have gone back and said, I'm going to go back and say that we have whorls or circles of pieces. The outermost circle are the sepals, and then just inside of that, here's the sepals, the next ring or whorl of pieces are the petals. Oops, went the wrong way there. The third whorl, the third circle of pieces toward the center of the flower are the stamens, and then in the very middle is the pistil, or pistils sometimes. This particular flower only has one, but many flowers have more than one, and that centermost piece or pieces is the pistil, the female part. And so the pistil at the base has this broad piece called the ovaries, and inside of those ovaries are the eggs. When the sperm fertilizes those eggs develop into seeds. The style is this long stalk that holds up this sticky piece at the top called the stigma. It's sticky so that when pollen grains float nearby and hit this stigma, they stick to it so that fertilization can occur. So let's talk about complete versus incomplete flowers. Flowers that have all four of those pieces we just talked about, sepals, petals, stamens, and pistils, are called complete flowers. So this is a complete flower. It's got the sepals, it's got the petals, it's got the stamen, it's got the pistil. Complete flower. A flower that's missing at least one of those pieces is called an incomplete flower. Here's an incomplete flower. Right here, this white piece, that's the pistil. These orange pieces sticking up, those are the stamens. And then we have the orange flower petals, but we're missing the sepals on this daylily. So we call this an incomplete flower. One more thing to say. Perfect flowers. Perfect flowers have both a male part and a female part. Okay? They have both the stamens and the pistils. Imperfect flowers have either a stamen or a pistil, but not both. So this flower right here, this is an imperfect flower. It has only the pistil, and we call that a pistillate flower. A staminate flower would only have the male parts. And here's the last thing I'm going to say here, and we're going to end on this. Complete flowers are always perfect. If you're a complete flower, you have all four pieces. You have a stamen, a pistil, you have the sepals, you have the petals. Because you have all four pieces, you're complete. And because you have male and female stamen and pistil, you're also perfect. So a complete flower is always perfect. But if you're an incomplete flower, you're missing either the pistil or the stamen, you are also incomplete, because complete flowers have all four of those pieces. All right, so what we've talked about today is we've talked about the purpose of flowers. The whole purpose of flowers is to make a seed so that the flower can pass on its a new generation and make new plants. Flowers are brightly colored to attract insects and small animals to pollinate them, which leads to fertilization, which makes those seeds. That's the whole purpose. Four main parts of the flower. We have the sepals, from outermost to innermost, the petals, the stamens, the pistil. We'll talk more next time.